What's up everybody and welcome back to the channel. So in today's video I'm going to be showing us how to draft a basic skirt pattern, how to cut it, and also how to sew it. So first of all, you have to get a pattern paper like this and then roll this line on top, which is going to serve as our waistline, okay, which is the starting point. So the next thing is for us to mark from the waist measurement down to the hip point, which is our vertical measurement first of all, before we go ahead and then mark out the horizontal measurement. So for me, from my waist to my hip point, I have 8 inches here, so that's what I'm marking. Next thing is for us to mark from the waist down to what we call the under hip. Okay, so this under hip is actually the point that's going to really help your butt to come out properly and very well. So for me, I'm just marking that down. Okay, that's from the waist down to that point. Then I'm also going to be marking from the waist down to the length of the skirt. Now once you've gotten this down, the next thing is for us to go ahead and then mark out the horizontal measurement. So right now I have to make sure I label this out. That's my waist, hip, under hip, and also the length. So the labeling is really going to help so that we'll know how to place them, okay, when you're placing the horizontal measurement, so you wouldn't make mistakes. So right now what I'm going to be doing is to divide my waist measurement by 4. So measure around your waist point and then divide it by 4 and then mark it out. So what I'm going to be doing here on this skirt is that I'm not going to be adding a dart to this skirt. So whatever it is I'm marking here, there's no dart included in this. It's just a normal waist. Alright, so the next thing is for us to mark to measure around the hip and then mark that down on the hip. Also measure around your hip, divide it by 4, okay, and also mark that down. Now you have to move down to the under hip, and also while trying to mark on the under hip, make sure that when you are trying to measure around the under hip, that your legs will a bit spread out. Okay, your legs are a bit spread out. Then you cannot take the measurement and then divide that measurement by 4 and then you mark it there. Also towards the knee area, you're going to measure around the knee area, okay, and make sure that your legs are spread out. Okay, just stand in the way you know you're comfortable in. Don't put your legs together, just open your legs a bit wide and then measure around that part and try to move your legs up and down to be sure that you're comfortable with that. Now once you've gotten the measurement, you divide it by 4 and then mark it down. The next thing I'm going to do now is to go ahead and then use my ruler and then connect these dots or the points together. Once you're done doing this, the next thing is to add the sewing allowance so that there will be ease, okay, while trying to sew it down. You have ease of movement or what to use to sew the side seams together. So what I'm going to do now is just to smoothen out this place, since our hip is not very straight, okay, it has a curve to it. So you just smoothen down out that place so that when you're trying to cut it out, it will be very much smooth and a bit round. So right now what I'm going to do is to go ahead and then add 1 inch around this part, or ½ inch as the case may be. So at this point now I'm done adding the 1 inch around here. Okay, so the next thing is for me to just go ahead and then cut this out. So why I haven't add an extra inch here is because already my measurement here is already long enough, okay, to carry the seam allowance, what I'm going to be using to fold the down part. That's why I haven't added anything there. So you can always add it to yours if you want to. Yeah, so that's just it. So the next thing is just to cut it out. Now once I'm done cutting this out, I'm just going to go ahead and then cut out the back piece also. So cutting out the back piece is not going to be really hard since you've already gotten the front piece. So right now you're going to be labeling this place on fold, so that anytime you're cutting this, you know that this place is supposed to be on fold. Okay, all right. So right now, placing this on top of another pattern paper, this is what you're going to do. Okay, so the back piece is the one that is down, while this other one is the one on top is the front. So very simple, just move the one in front forward a bit. So this is just 1 inch left at the back. Okay, Now this 1 inch that we're adding at the back is just so that we can have what to use to insert our zip at the back. Simple. That is just the only reason why we are leaving this out. All right, so what I'm going to do next is just to go ahead and use my scissors and then cut it out. So by so doing, every other thing is present at the back. The only difference between the front and the back in this very particular skirt pattern is just the zipper allowance at the back. So once you're done doing that, the two pattern pieces are definitely ready. So this is the fabric I'm going to be using to make this skirt. So the fabric has a little bit of stretch to it. So what I'm going to do is to fold it over into two like this. So remember that our pattern paper, there's a part that we wrote fold, okay? So that part that you wrote fold is what's going to be facing the other side of the fabric that is folded. All right, okay, so once you're done doing that, the next thing is just to go ahead and then cut them out. Just cut it out. That's just it. You also do the same thing also to the back and then also cut it out. But one thing about the back is that the back is not folded. So if you are cutting it out on fold, once you're done cutting it out, what you're going to do next is just to go ahead and then use your scissors and then open that back part so that it can be two, as in double. Okay, it's not on fold like the front. So that's just the only difference between the front and. All right, so moving ahead, right now you're going to look for a way to make sure that the waist point comes out looking neat and nice. Okay, so I have a piece of fabric here with me. So what I'm going to do is just to place it on top of this fabric, on top of the, yes, and place the main skirt, sorry, on top of the pieces like this. Then you're just going to go ahead and then cut the sides out. That's cut the excess part of the pieces out from the side so you can align with the waist of the skirt. Okay, that's just it. So what I'm going to go ahead to do now is to sew it down, and then we're going to flip it over. Now once I'm done sewing it down, this is what it looks like, and when I flip it over, this is how it's going to be looking like. Okay, once you flip it over, this is how it's going to look like. So these other smaller pieces is what's going to be inside the skirt, while the other part is going to be the front part. So what I'm going to do now is just to go ahead and fold this part down. So once you fold it down on the other side, just go ahead and then top stitch it on the other side. That's on top of this small flap here, that's the lining or whatever. Just sew on top of that. Okay, all right, so this is me trying to do this so you can see what I was talking about. So I'm literally top stitching that other stitch that was inside on top. Okay, sorry, under this other one. So I'm going on top of the little flap and then sewing it down. That's just basically what I'm doing here. So I'm going to be doing the same thing also to the other part, that's towards the back pieces. That's what I'm going to be doing. Now this is what it looks like after once I finished top stitching it. Okay, so you can see it now lays nice and flat, so that once you pull this inwards like this, it can stay comfortably and not try to come out as we saw earlier. All right, so that's by the way. So right now, once you're done doing that, you're going to fold this on top of each other like this. Okay, you're going to fold this on top like this, sorry, inwards like this. Then we're going to stitch it down on each side. Just stitch them down on either sides. Okay, and don't go further than what you're supposed to. Once you've gotten to the end, you stop and then you come out and then cut it out. Now the reason why I'm doing this is because so that the flap can stay one place, because this fabric I'm making use of it's actually finding it difficult for it to stay inside comfortably. Okay, so I'm just doing this so that I can keep it one place, so that once I'm trying to put the front and the back together, they can sit comfortably instead of going up and down. I don't even understand. So that's just it. So this is what I was talking about. So as you can see, it's laying nice and flat. Okay, it's just seated one place. It's not going up and down as compared to before now. So that's just it. So right now what we're going to do next is to go ahead and insert our zip at the back. All right, so that we can finish up with the back and then put the front and the back pieces together. So right now I'm just placing my zip at the back. Okay, we were supposed to be inserting the zip, and I'm going to be measuring where the zip stops, because that is where we are going to start sewing down towards the end of the skirt. Okay, I don't even understand what I'm trying to do now, but just keep watching so that you can get and understand what I'm doing. So right now at this point, I'm just going to go ahead and then sew this place down and make sure that it sits properly. Now we're going to sew down to the end of the skirt. So now once we get towards the end of the skirt, I'm going to be measuring almost 8 to 9 inches. Okay. At first I think I took 10, but 10 was too much, so I ended up reducing it. Okay. So I ended up using 7 inches at the end. All right, so at this point it's time for us to insert the zip at the back. So I'm just going to be placing my zip in this direction and then fold it inside like this. Okay, so remember that we used 1 inch, so whatever it is that you're folding in, okay, should be the 1 inch, not more than that. So right now I'm just going to go ahead and then sew it down. So you're just going to sew down straight to where it stops, at the down part where the zip stops. Then you're going to lift up your presser foot, turn it around and then sew it down, lift it up again and then sew it down straight to the top. It's not really hard, just follow what I'm showing you, then you understand how to insert this. It's not really hard. All right, so that's it. So once you're done, the next thing is to add the side seams together. So you bring the side seam of the front and also you bring that of the back and you place them together, and then using the 1 inch that we added, okay, on the side, make sure it's 1 inch on the dot. So you just use the 1 inch and then sew it down straight to the end. You turn it over to the other side and also sew them down straight to the end. Okay. So once you're done, next thing is for us to go ahead and then bend or fold the down part or hem the skirt, okay, that is the down part of the skirt, so that it can come out looking nice. So you're going to start from the slit that we had at the back. So you're just going to hold it in, and the way you saw me fold it, just go ahead and then fold it in that way and then place that down and then you can just sew it in. Okay, so just sew that down just the same way you inserted the zip, as you can see me do. I just sewed that down and then I ended up turning it over and folding it around. Okay, so once you're done doing that, just fold this over and then just go ahead and then sew it down. Then once you get to the edge, okay, the next thing is just for you to go ahead and then sew the 1 inch or ½ inch, as the case may be, depending on how many inches you left on the down part of the skirt. So that's what you're going to be using exactly, just exactly that, to fold around the down part of the skirt. So that's just it. Okay, so once you're done doing that, then your skirt is definitely ready. So in most cases, I would definitely recommend, if you are doing this for the first time, I would definitely recommend that you iron those parts that you need to fold, either the down part of the skirt. Go ahead and then iron them down first of all. Fold it over and then iron it down first of all before you take it to your sewing machine and then start to sew. All right, so this is how the finished skirt turned out. So at this point now, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will also advise, when you're making this skirt for yourself, please use a red zip for yourself, a matching zip for yourself. Okay,
So me using a black zip, this is what I had for the meantime, and also for the purpose of this video, that's why I had to use that. So when you're making yours, please use a red zip so that it can match up with the skirt. So this is it for this video, guys. Please do well to give me a like on this video. It helps me to get into the algorithm, and also share the video and subscribe to my channel. Till next time, bye.